Hey, welcome to a new episode. Today we are at another legendary place here in Japan. Crystal Body Yokohama, I think, is synonymous with, high-level Hachiroku tuning for so many years. This is a shop that pretty much has, created a style that everybody kind of replicates, and they're so well known in the N2 racing and, circuit grip attack in Tsukuba and other circuits like Okayama and Fuji. So I really wanted to come here and show you guys what this brand is all about. This is a one-man operation, and we're going to be checking out some pretty cool cars, including their main demo car. All right, so we can actually come back and take a closer look at this car. But first, I just wanted to take you guys inside the shop and kind of like see where, all these amazing Hachirokus have always been built. This actual location has been in operation for 26 years, but CBY actually started 4 years prior to that, not too far from here. So it's basically been around for 30 years. So 3 decades of not only building Hachirokus, but researching and developing and pushing that envelope to basically get their cars to some insane performance. I mean, if you think their demo car does like 58.8 at Tsukuba, it really puts things into perspective. A 58-second lap is something, a 600 horsepower GTR would do. So to get these very lightweight Toyotas down to that kind of speed, not only takes a lot of engineering, but also a lot of thought when it comes to aero and heat management and everything that goes along with it. So let's take a look. Start here. This is very much a true workshop. This is probably what you would call the machine area. They have a lathe here, a couple of presses and drills, and then here's a welding table where fabrication happens. And we'll see just how advanced, I guess, the fabrication is when it comes to the cars that CBY builds, especially in the radiator setups that they do. So lots of cool stuff to take a look at. I mean, these kind of shops are always so cool to take a look at because they really show the Japanese way of doing things. As you know, in Japan, space is very much of a premium, so people really maximize their space, and that's how you get these kind of like super well stocked and organized shops. I mean, you could call it like organized chaos, but it does make sense to guys working in these places. And so much around to look at, like super rare axles here. And over here in the corner is actually a customer car that CBY built, and it's pretty much a replica of the demo car. This car was actually crashed at Okayama some time back, so they're still in the process of fixing it and replacing some of the panels. Of course, a lot of the stuff that CBY does is either FRP or dry carbon. So they take their lightweight componentry very seriously. So taking a look at this engine bay, it's kind of replicating what the demo car has done. So the engine is being dropped 25 or 26 millimeters actually. So it sits on custom engine mounts and a custom sump, wet sump for the oil pan. And that allows the actual center of gravity of the front end to be dropped. And here is a yet to be finished airbox where the velocity stacks reside. So that's fed from the side. Obviously, like I said, this car is being crashed, so it's missing some parts, but you can kind of understand the setup that CBY goes for. This car actually runs on slicks. Watanabe RS's, massive carbon fiber splitter, and vented fenders, even vented over fenders, and possibly what made CBY very well known, that rear deck lid with the integrated spoiler. All right, over on this side is another customer car that CBY is working on. So they're actually converting this track car to a link system. So they're changing the Freedom ECU that was being run before and doing a full link conversion, rewiring the entire car, and then putting a keypad for the CAN system. And again, this is a really cool setup. It's even got dry carbon fender finishers. So basically these have been cut and then riveted in place. And the radiator supports have been cut because the radiator has been mounted at a very steep angle, because that will facilitate the air to be extracted. There's an electrical fan here helping. And the little 4A, which has been built by another shop, by the way. This is a car that's only in for the wiring and the ECU swap. But a really cool build, dry carbon bonnet, gusseted and welded roll cage. And even if you look here, you can actually see how there's an additional support. This is something that a lot of people do with Hachirokus. They add that additional bracing at the back, and then this has actually got a pass-through that holds, that kind of has a secondary bracket to hold or give extra rigidity to the rear end. The car is actually from Racing Garage Miyamoto. It's a beautifully executed car, really nice paint inside and out, completely stripped out. And on TE37Bs. Again, lots of aero, nice splitter that extends a good 10-15 centimeters. That is continued along the side with the side skirts, and then at the end on the back here is that GT wing.
CBY の小田博明です。ここでだいたいこれ25年ぐらい。
あと、なんで86こんな好き？
なんでだろうね。なんか86がいいから86買ったっていうよりかは、たまたま持ってた86になんかのめり込んじゃったらこんななっちゃったみたいな、そんな感じかな。
未来の86デベロップメントは何が欲しい？
次にやりたいこと、とりあえずはちょっとデモカーを今ちょっとねちゃんと走れてないんでね、それをいろいろちょっとエンジンも含めていろいろやってるので、それぐらいかな。なんか結構思いつきでなんかこれ作ってみようとかそんな感じになるから、あんまこうなんかこれをやんなきゃなとかっていうなんかこう考えてるようなものっていうのはあんまりないですね。
That's pretty cool. Workshop manual for the 4A GEU. And CBY actually have a third car here. This has been on a very long time storage. This is a friend's car that's been here for a very long time. And it's kind of been kind of blocked in by a bunch of stuff. And one cool thing is that so Oda-san, the owner of CBY, was telling me that every carbon fiber part that he has developed for the 86 is being actually done here by himself. So he does the actual moldings here, and then he gets it made outside Fuji Speedway by a carbon specialist, and here's some of the vacuum sealed molds that have been used previously for the side skirts. I think Hachiroku guys will probably be drooling over this stuff: gearboxes, axles, miscellaneous engine parts. But I think to really make full sense of what CBY kind of is known for, we have to go outside and take a look at their demo car. All right, so let's take a look at the street registered demo car. I'm still kind of surprised that he's able to have this street registered. Of course, the plates are not on it now. It's actually just come back from an event, 86 style. So the plates are covered, but you can actually see them under there. Okay, so I think let's just break it down from the front, starting with the carbon fiber splitter that runs across the front end, and that feeds into these vented over fenders. So these have been kind of like played with and tested by Oda-san, and he's actually done the same cutouts along the fender here to kind of get rid of pressurized air from the inner fender, including this massive opening here, and that brings the CBY aero across the side with the skirts onto the rear fenders. Again, same treatment here, and then this very well known and respected rear hatch with the integrated spoiler, and then he's added a carbon fiber CFD developed wing that he got from a company in the UK, and developed his own wing stays here in dry carbon and mounted them to the rear hatch. So the cool thing about this wing is that it actually follows the right homologation requirements to actually pass Shaken, or the roadworthiness test here in Japan. Height and width is within what needs to be considered as legal, hence the car is able to get a number plate. The car sits on HCS Tokiko dampers. These are custom made for CBY, and of course the RS Watanabes. These are actually forged magnesium alloy wheels, so a little bit lighter than an alloy version for lugs. So this is actually running 15s, 225s at the rear on Yokohama Advan 050s, and 225s at the front. And if you get a little glimpse of that, there's a little Brembo caliper back there. So he's actually gone down from the original 17s that the car used to run on, and prefers to run the chunkier sidewall to kind of add a bit of extra bump absorption as part of the whole suspension setup. So it just ends up making the car look far cooler. I'm a big fan of like chunky sidewalls on especially older cars. So front end, you can't really skip this amazing detail. So this is still I guess a prototype version of what will become the CBY vented hood for the 86, and this will probably have to be sold with what's inside. So this really it makes sense if it's fed by the proper radiator shroud that he's created, but we'll have to take a look inside to make full sense of what that means. Let's lift the hood and just take a look at that. That's insane. And you'll see exactly what I meant with the hood actually making sense if the actual airbox is present, because much like a race car, the radiator is being angled at like 45 degrees to make full use of the airflow coming in through the main grille, and then that allows the air, the hot air, to escape through the openings in the hood. So this hood will actually be made in carbon fiber and dry carbon. It'll be a very light piece, and it will feature these two openings. So you can tell how the development on a car like this takes a very long time. It's been years in the making, much like this scoop that brings air from the headlight position onto or inside the heat shielding that hides away the CBY stainless steel exhaust manifolds. And again, like we saw inside, the engine actually sits on lowered engine mounts, 26 millimeters lower. That allows for a considerable benefit when it comes to the center of gravity, and that is doable because he's actually made a custom oil pan for the engine itself. So the engine is actually being stroked to 1.8 liters, and it runs a 300 degree intake cam and a 295 degree exhaust cam. Revs to about 8,500 RPM. We haven't really talked about power, but considering it does 58.8 at Scuba, it definitely develops over 200 horsepower. So another cool thing is how the other side of the engine bay has been converted into a big scoop that feeds this custom-made airbox or enclosure where the velocity stacks live in. You can tell that they're actually made in carbon fiber, and they've played with different lengths and diameters to kind of see what changes it would make to the power delivery, the torque curve and the power curve, and this is what has worked best so far. So another thing that's being modified is the actual repositioning of the top mount, 17 millimeters inwards, and that allows for better geometry now that the 15-inch tires and wheel setup is used. So if you actually look in the airbox that he's created, the left side of the setup is an oil cooler, while the right side is the actual radiator with the electrical extractor fan. So once the air comes out of here, it's expelled through the openings in the hood. Here's another super cool detail. The original Speed Hunter's chrome sticker from 2008. I can't believe he still has this on the car. I think I gave it to him probably 2008, 2009 at Scuba. So sick. So that exhaust system that we saw, beginning with the kind of like heat shielded exhaust manifolds, ends up with this titanium silencer. So it's titanium all the way, no catalyst, and the car is actually running a silencer bung now, so it's actually pretty quiet. All right, let's take that look inside. So from the passenger side, amazingly, some of the door trims have been left, and center stage are these Briddo bucket seats. They're actually pretty cool limited edition version made with Watanabe wheels. Pretty nice buckets. And you can see the 6-speed sitting there with a carbon fiber surround around the transmission tunnel. And then we'll have to go over to that side to get more details of the digital dash. So the car runs a bolt-in roll cage. And if we actually take a look behind the seats, you can actually see that additional strengthening box out support there that we saw in the other car. All right, from the driver's side, we have a little cubby hole here on the side of the door, and an OMP flat bottom steering wheel. And just behind us, a really sick R32 has just pulled in, because something I haven't really mentioned, But this shop behind me is actually Auto Gallery Yokohama. But that'll be a different video because those guys are awesome too. All right, so right behind the OMP steering wheel is a digital dash that he's custom created. Let's see if we can get it to come to life. So ETC card, ETC machine in there. So gauge art is what he's running for the display for the Link ECU system, and I love how analog it is. Check out the pixelation on the numbers. That is so cool. And over here is the speedometer that he's kind of moved to the side here on a little digital display. And up there is the lap timer. So yeah, a massive thank you to CBY today for allowing us to come here and shoot and take a look at their demo car. It's been a car that I've followed for so many years while shooting for Speed Hunters, and it's great to see the development continues. It never ceases. You know, they're always pushing for a better lap time and just perfecting that package. So I hope you enjoyed taking a look at such high-end shop when it comes to Hachiroku tuning, and there'll be more to come for sure, so check back soon.